Introduction to the used luxury market. Every single day, luxury sedans that cost $60,000, $70,000, or even $90,000 brand new are sitting on used lots completely ignored. Dealers are dropping prices, private sellers are getting desperate, and the buyers who actually understand what they are looking at are quietly driving away in some of the most engineered vehicles ever built for a fraction of what they cost new. But here is what nobody's telling you. These cars aren't sitting there because something went wrong. They are sitting there because of three things: fashion, fear, and fuel prices. The market chased crossovers. Buyers developed irrational terror around anything with a V8. And the used luxury sedan became invisible overnight, regardless of what was actually under the hood. For the buyer who can separate emotion from engineering, that combination creates the single greatest buying opportunity in the used car market right now. Today, I am going to show you three luxury sedans that are currently rotting on lots across America. These are cars that will outlast a brand new BMW, cars that will outfeature a brand new Mercedes, cars that will out-engineer practically anything you can buy used for under $15,000 today. I am going to show you exactly why they are cheap, exactly what to look for, and exactly what to avoid. Stay until the last car, because that one is the one that genuinely keeps me up at night. The engineering on that machine versus what it costs today is almost offensive. The gap between what it is and what the market thinks it is worth is the largest on this entire list. Let's get into it. Top 1, the Japanese performance icon, Infiniti M Series. Now we are starting with a name that for one specific decade stood at the absolute top of what Japanese performance luxury meant. This was not a compromise, not a near miss. This was a car that the automotive press, when it actually drove it back to back against the European competition, consistently called the better vehicle. The Infiniti M Series, specifically the M37 and the M45 from 2006 to 2010. The number I'm about to give you is going to stop you cold. A fully loaded Infiniti M45 left the dealership for between $48,000 and $58,000 brand new. Today, you find clean examples between $5,000 and $9,000. Someone absorbed over $45,000 in depreciation, so you don't have to. What they left behind is a rear-wheel drive executive performance sedan built specifically to beat Germany at its own game, with a Japanese reliability record underneath every single component. The Infiniti M was not a soft luxury cruiser built for quiet commutes and easy miles. This was Infiniti's direct answer to the BMW 5 Series and the Mercedes E-Class, built specifically to compete at a flagship executive level. The chassis was developed with a single mandate: match European handling dynamics with Japanese long-term durability. It features rear-wheel drive, a 52-48 weight distribution, double wishbone front suspension, and multi-link rear geometry tuned by engineers who had studied the German competition exhaustively and decided to build something better. And then there is the engine. The M37 carries the 3.7L VQ37VR V6, producing 330 horsepower, one of the most celebrated naturally aspirated engine architectures ever mass-produced. This engine was named towards 10 best engines list multiple times. Not once, but multiple times. There are no turbochargers, no superchargers, and no forced induction complexity waiting to generate the repair bills that German ownership is famous for. Pure natural aspiration, delivering 330 horsepower with a throttle response and high RPM character that shames turbocharged European alternatives at 3 times the used price. The M45 takes that further with the 4.5L VK45DE V8, producing 325 horsepower. This is a proper V8 in a proper executive sedan at a price that makes the specifications seem like a misprint. It goes 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds in a full-size luxury car. That is genuine performance that most buyers of this car never even explored because they were too occupied enjoying the heated seats and the Bose audio. The magnetic ride derives suspension on higher trims, adjusts damping in real time based on road conditions and driving inputs. You are driving a performance-tuned executive chassis for $6,000. That sentence should not be possible, but here we are. The interior of the M series is where the engineering argument becomes impossible to argue against at this price. It features semi-aniline leather throughout, real wood trim with grain and depth that responds to inspection, and a Bose premium audio system that sounds genuinely excellent. It includes automatic climate control, heated and ventilated front seats, navigation, and an instrument cluster with the precision and clarity that reminds passengers every single time that they are in a car that costs $55,000 new. Here is the maintenance reality check before you buy. The VQ and VK engines are both thoroughly proven architectures with no structural weak points on maintained examples. The main items to verify an inspection are the timing chain tensioners on high mileage examples, a standard check any Nissan familiar independent can perform, and the condition of the rear differential fluid on the M45. Parts availability is strong, the dealer network is accessible everywhere, and the ownership cost on a well-maintained example is genuinely low. Any competent independent mechanic familiar with Nissan platforms can service this car without specialized tools and without specialist-level labor rates. The reason the M Series costs $6,000 today is the same reason it was always overlooked. Everyone knew the G35, but nobody remembered the M existed. That market amnesia is your opportunity because what you're getting is a rear-wheel drive V8 executive sedan with Ward's 10 best engine technology, European matched handling dynamics, and Japanese long-term reliability for the price of a used economy hatchback. Top 2. The aluminum masterpiece, Audi A8 D3. But what I'm about to show you next was built by a brand that holds a specific engineering distinction that almost no other manufacturer in the world can claim. This is a brand that wraps its flagships in aluminum, not steel, and produces a chassis that is lighter, stiffer, and more structurally precise than everything competing against it at this price. Today it is available for a number that makes absolutely no sense given what it actually is. Pay close attention. There is a car on this list with a single engineering detail that separates it from every other vehicle at this price point in the entire used market. A detail that most buyers currently shopping in this segment have no idea exists. And that detail is the reason this car, properly maintained and properly documented, is one of the most rational used car purchases available anywhere right now. The Audi A8 D3 generation, 2004 to 2010. A fully loaded A8 from this era left the dealership for between $75,000 and $95,000. Today, you find clean examples with complete service history between $5,000 and $9,000. Someone absorbed $80,000 in depreciation, so you don't have to. And what they left behind is a full-size German luxury flagship with technology and engineering ambition that current production economics simply do not allow. The detail that changes everything is the ASF, or Audi space frame. This is a full aluminum monocoque chassis, not aluminum panels over a steel structure, but a complete aluminum body architecture that makes the A8 D3 approximately 40% lighter than a comparable steel body competitor from the same class in the same era. A lighter body means sharper handling dynamics than the displacement and weight class suggest. It means less stress on suspension and braking components over the vehicle's life. And it provides a structural rigidity that still feels genuinely precise at any speed, 2 decades after it left the factory. That is not just a feature. That is a manufacturing philosophy that Audi developed at enormous cost and applied to their flagship when the goal was to build the best large luxury sedan on the planet. Full stop. Under the hood, you have the 4.2L V8 FSI. It produces 335 horsepower, with quattro all-wheel drive distributing traction with the precision that Audi's most serious engineering platform demanded. It does 0 to 60 in under 6 seconds in a full-size flagship. Most buyers of this car never explored that number because they were too occupied with the massage seats and the Bang & Olufsen audio. And if you find the W12 6.0L variant, you get 444 horsepower, all-wheel drive, an aluminum space frame, and full Audi flagship specification, available today between $8,000 and $12,000. A hand-built 12-cylinder engine in an aluminum chassis, German flagship for $9,000. Let that register. That sentence should not be possible, but here we are. The interior of the A8D3 is where the $90,000 original purchase price becomes tangible in every surface you touch. It features full leather with genuine depth and softness that has not collapsed at 150,000 miles on maintained examples. You get real wood and aluminum trim machined to a finish that makes modern luxury interiors look approximate. There are multi-contour seats with memory, heating, ventilation, and massage functions on higher specifications. The Bang& Olufsen premium audio system competes with dedicated home audio equipment costing thousands. The MMI infotainment interface was advanced when it launched and remains logical today. The cabin NVH isolation at highway speed places this car in a category that brand new $35,000 vehicles cannot enter, regardless of specification. Here is the maintenance reality check before you buy. And this is where complete honesty is required because the A8D3 demands it. This car rewards disciplined, attentive owners and punishes negligent ones without mercy and without warning. The Quattro drivetrain requires all four tires to be replaced simultaneously. A full set runs $900 to $1,200 and is non-negotiable. The air suspension will eventually require attention. Compressor evaluation is standard pre-purchase procedure. Budget $500 to $900 for replacement if needed. It is a known, well-documented repair on a car with a mature parts aftermarket. Do not let that number push you away from an otherwise excellent example. If the seller has already completed it, that is one of the strongest buying signals you will see on any used luxury vehicle at this price. The service history must be complete and verifiable, not mostly complete, not partially documented, but complete. A pre-purchase inspection by an Audi specialist with VAG diagnostic access is non-negotiable. Budget $200 for this. Walk away from anything that cannot produce full documentation. Find the right example and you have German flagship engineering with an aluminum space frame, a Quattro V8, and Bang & Olufsen audio for $7,000. That is the transaction. The reason this car costs $7,000 today is entirely the reputation. A reputation built on neglected examples without service history. On a documented car with complete records in a past specialist inspection, the gap between reputation and reality is the largest opportunity on this list so far. Top 3: the engineering benchmark. Lexus LS 430. But what I'm about to show you next was built by a company that spent over $400 million developing a single generation of one vehicle. This was a company that was not trying to build a good luxury flagship. They were trying to build the best engineered production object in automotive history. And today, that vehicle is sitting on lots across America at a price that should not be legal given what it actually is. Stay with me, because the value gap on what comes next is almost offensive. There is a vehicle that for one specific generation was the absolute benchmark of what a luxury sedan could be. This was the car that every luxury manufacturer in the world measured themselves against. The car that defined what the word flagship actually meant. Not in terms of badge prestige, but in terms of engineering investment per square inch of vehicle. And today that vehicle is sitting on used lots across America at a price that should not be legal. The Lexus LS 430, 2001 to 2006. A fully loaded LS 430 left the dealership for between $55,000 and $66,000. Today, you find clean, documented, single-owner examples between $8,000 and $14,000. And unlike almost everything else available in this price range, the LS 430 does something that most cars at twice this price cannot do. It runs forever. Let me explain what a Lexus LS actually is, because most buyers fundamentally underestimate this vehicle. The LS 430 is not a luxury car that happens to be reliable. It is a reliability engineering masterpiece that Toyota decided to also make luxurious. The distinction matters enormously. Every single system on this vehicle was engineered first for extreme durability and longevity, and then wrapped in semi-aniline leather and Mark Levinson audio. Toyota spent over $400 million developing this generation of the LS. They were not trying to build a good luxury car. They were trying to build the best engineered object in the history of the automotive industry. The 3UZFE 4.3 LV8 produces 290 horsepower with a smoothness that engineers at competing brands genuinely studied and could not replicate. This engine is so quiet at idle that you have to look at the tachometer to confirm it is running. It is so smooth at highway speeds that rear seat passengers fall asleep without trying. And with quality synthetic oil changes on schedule and basic maintenance, nothing more, these engines run past 300,000 miles without drama. There are documented LS430s with over 400,000 miles still on original engine internals. 400,000 miles in a car that rides like a private aircraft cabin. That is not a reliability claim. That is an engineering statement that no European manufacturer has replicated in the same displacement class at any price point. The 5-speed automatic transmission shifts with a smoothness that still outperforms gearboxes in brand new vehicles, costing 3 times as much. A fluid change every 40,000 miles is the complete transmission maintenance requirement. That is it. Now here is what makes the LS430 genuinely different from everything else on this list: the engineering excess. Lexus built this car to prove a point, and proving that point required technology that had no business being in a production vehicle at this price. It features active noise cancellation using microphones and speakers to eliminate road noise in real time. It has Mark Levinson premium audio with 240 watts across 11 speakers, the same Mark Levinson brand that builds reference-grade home audio equipment at $10,000 per component. There is a rear seat ottoman function with leg rest extension and a self-parking system. There is pre-collision automatic braking, rear wheel steering for parking maneuverability, and active noise cancellation in a car you can buy today for $10,000. That sentence should not be possible, but here we are. The interior of the LS430 is where you understand why someone paid $65,000 for it. It features semi-aniline leather with a softness and depth that does not collapse at high mileage on maintained examples. You get real wood trim sourced and finished to a standard that makes modern wood-look surfaces look like what they are. The instrument cluster has a clarity and elegance that modern digital displays with their glare and brightness menus have not improved upon. The cabin is so quiet and so refined that first-time passengers consistently stop mid-sentence to process what they're sitting in. That silence is not cosmetic. It is the result of $400 million worth of NVH engineering applied without compromise. Here's the maintenance reality check before you buy. The air suspension available on higher specifications will eventually need attention. Compressor replacement runs between $400 and $800 at an independent specialist. Do not let that number push you away from an otherwise immaculate car. It is a known, well-documented repair with a fully mature parts aftermarket. If the seller has already completed the repair, that is one of the strongest buying signals you will see on any used luxury vehicle at any price. Beyond the air suspension, the LS430 is one of the most straightforward ownership experiences available in the used luxury market. Oil changes, filters, brakes, tires, that is your ownership experience. That is it. Lexus dealer service is accessible everywhere. Any competent, independent mechanic familiar with Toyota platforms can handle everything outside specialty items. The annual maintenance cost on a well-maintained LS430 is genuinely lower than most economy cars at comparable mileage. That sentence describes a car with active noise cancellation and Mark Levinson audio. Let that register. The reason the LS430 costs $10,000 today is the same reason every car on this list is cheap. The market moved on. The LS460 arrived. Fuel prices created irrational fear around V8 flagships, and the LS430 sat quietly while buyers chased newer models and avoided anything that looked like a traditional, full-size sedan. Final summary and buying strategy. Their loss is your opportunity because what you're getting is the engineering flagship of one of the most reliable automotive brands on the planet, built when Toyota was spending $400 million to prove a point, for the price the market assigned after it stopped paying attention. 3 cars, 3 engineering statements, 3 stories that are all the same story. They were built when their manufacturers were trying to prove something. They were built with resources and ambition that current production economics no longer allow anywhere in the industry. And they are available today at prices that exist because the market forgot about them, not because the engineering failed. The Infiniti M37 and M45 are for the buyer who wants a rear-wheel drive executive performance sedan with awards 10 best engine, European matched chassis dynamics, and Japanese long-term reliability for the price of a used economy car. The Audi A8 D3 is for the buyer who understands that aluminum space frame construction, Quattro V8 engineering, and Bang& Olufsen audio on a complete documented service history at $7,000 is not a risk. It is the most rational transaction in the used luxury market. And the gap between reputation and reality on the right example is the largest opportunity on this list. And the Lexus LS 430 is for the buyer who wants the absolute pinnacle of Japanese luxury engineering, a 400,000-mile V8 with active noise cancellation and Mark Levinson audio at the price the market assigned after it forgot to keep paying attention. Every one of these cars requires the same thing from you: complete documentation and a specialist inspection. You must have the discipline to walk away from any example that cannot provide both. Find the right car, and you drive away in something that cost $80,000 new for $8,000. And you experience finally exactly why the people who originally bought them paid what they paid. If this deep dive into the used luxury market changed how you look at these forgotten masterpieces, please hit that like button. It costs you nothing, and it helps the algorithm show this to every buyer who is tired of overpaying for something ordinary. Subscribe to our channel as we continue to excavate the engineering stories that the market has ignored and the prices that make them impossible to overlook. We are uncovering the history they tried to bury. The best car you will ever own might already be sitting on a lot somewhere near you, unloved, underpriced, and waiting for someone smart enough to recognize exactly what it is. Buy smart, not by trend. The next treasure will be revealed soon. See you next time.